Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Rimworld on the 1st of August, where Dark Aavak and Yoko are currently out doing a spot of mining, as it happens. In the last episode, Randy was kind enough to gift us a couple of new corpses to fill our not freezer with, and that happens to be the first point of order for today's episode. Given the amount of meat that these two corpses represent, we don't want to waste it, but they are going to decay in 1.3 days if we do nothing further about it, and we are not going to eat all of this meat in that time. So instead, I think the best thing for us to do is just to bite the bullet and try and make an actual freezer. Now, I could use a dual refrigerator to store both of these bodies, and while that would be very, very slightly more energy efficient, if I was only going to store these two bodies, we have to plan for the fact that we're going to eventually have a lot of things to store, namely potatoes and corn. So we are going to want to try and get that get that going right now. A cooler uses 200 watts. A dual refrigerator uses 90. So two of them will only be 20 watts shy of having a larger cooler, which could cool an enormous area. So we'll hopefully be able to get that done reasonably soon. And to that end, we'll just speed things up a little bit. Dark Aavak can continue grabbing a bit more steel there. We're going to need a fair chunk of it, actually. We're also going to want to move. Oops. Actually, no. Don't completely break it down. Just move it for the time being. We'll just move it over there. It's not in a particularly good spot there, but I want to gain access to these walls so I can strip them down, replace them with slate. Now, ultimately, it would be better if I replace them with marble, honestly. Marble is a much more beautiful material. For the sake of building walls, it is superior to slate if fortifications aren't your focus. Fortifications are, then you definitely want to go for granite. But when it comes to walls, marble has a beauty of one, slate and granite have no beauty whatsoever. When it comes to flooring tiles, however, marble has a beauty of one, so does slate, so does granite. Outside of things that like floors made of gold, or indeed fine tiled floors, you're not going to see really any difference between any of the different types of stone. So you may as well use slate for the flooring. I believe even doors will get a beauty if you make them out of marble. So if you're going to be using a stone block for a door, that again, the focus isn't on fortification, then you may as well use marble because you'll get that little bit of extra beauty. If, again, it is for like an external door that you're going to be defending, you probably want to make it out of granite if you have the option. But other than that, if we can get some of this marble brought down here, then that will actually be very, very nice for us. Let's go ahead and quickly pop a roofed zone over this marble, just so that Dark Aavak and you can go out and grab that and haul that back for us. That would actually be very, very nice indeed. And we are almost done expanding out this whole area. Let's have a look. Okay, that lower corner there, that's fine. It looks like we're fine for the rest of the room, though. And that is exactly what we wanted to see. Okay, well, you're going to have a bit of a snooze. All right, I guess we should let you have that. How long have we got on these spells? In 1.3 days, 19 hours. That is really not good then. So this actually needs to be done. It's probably your highest priority. And then we'll quickly pop down a cooler after that. As soon as you wake up, let's keep an eye on this corpse. 16 hours. How long are you going to sleep for? My lord. Oh, you're going to get up pretty soon, actually. Flash storm out there. Okay, not too bad there. It could have been rough if it landed right on top of our buildings, but thankfully that wasn't the case. Right, let's get a cooler in here. As a matter of extreme urgency, can it reach? Oh, thank goodness it can reach straight out of the box. I'm afraid you're going to have to let the beer sit for now. You can have a beer as a reward once we're no longer going to waste any meat. There we go, and let's get this one all the way down. You don't need to take it very low. I go for 2 to 5 degrees below zero as a kind of a little bit of a buffer, but generally speaking, that should be fine. And this is now pulling that temperature down adequately that we don't have to worry about this at all anymore. That is fantastic. Now let's just double check that corner wall there. Okay, things look okay there. Fantastic. All right, so with that done then, we can consider this food basically safe. And indeed, we don't need this freezer either. So uninstall that. We will eventually use that freezer in the future. But what I would like to do here, we're going to need to change up these stockpiles quite badly. In fact, let's just start as we need to go on. We're going to get rid of that one entirely and designate a proper freezer stockpile right here. We don't want any rotten food in there. We don't want any packaged survival meals because they will stay good anyway. Nutrient paste is such an anomalous one. You may as well turn it on or off. It doesn't really matter. You can just ignore it for all intents and purposes. Hay will eventually decompose, but it'll decompose on the scale of years or at least quadrums, so you don't really need to worry about it. Kibble, much the same. Pemmican, much the same. That's the whole point of these, is that they last for a long time unrefrigerated. So let's not use up valuable freezer space. Medicines. Of the medicines, only... in fact, let's just clear all just so that, because there's going to be far less things that we need to refrigerate than not. So let's do that. We'll keep the chocolate in here, but that's the only one there. In terms of raw food, all raw food will perish. But as for medicines, only herbal medicine needs to be refrigerated. As for the drugs, I really don't know. But it makes sense to me to keep beer in the fridge. Everything else? Not really. Sci-fi tea? I mean, if you're having iced tea, I guess, but I can't imagine that sci-fi tea is iced tea. I imagine sci-fi tea is warm tea. And so, naturally, we don't want to stick that one in the freezer. And to this end, we're also going to get rid of that stockpile zone there. Hopefully, we'll see everything get brought in there. And if you don't, could you please... What? Can you please move the human meat indoors? Thank you, that's brilliant. Now that we actually have this, there's no particular reason not to butcher the corpses, at least whilst Dark Aavak is here on his own, because he doesn't mind butchering a human. If we had other people here, then it would make more sense to try and butcher them in groups, because the negative for butchering a human is felt by the whole colony, but it doesn't stack. Whether you butcher one person or 20 people, it's just a flat -6 to people's mood. That'll last for a couple of days, so it's better to do a bulk butchering and get all of that negativity out in one go rather than just trickling and refreshing the timer on the negative moodlet. Right, now though, I'm going to start worrying about power, because this one's going to be working hard all the time to keep this going. We could turn off things like the electric stove if we really wanted to. That's using power. In fact, it's using more than the cooler, and we're not using it. Perhaps we could set up a few things. I mean, some simple meals cooked of people meat. That would definitely please Dark Aavak. But at the moment, I'm still of a mind to keep the packaged survival meals there right now, and focus on those with Dark Aavak rather than cutting into the human meat. So we're going to turn this off just to save a little bit of power. We also don't need this room really cooled. We definitely don't need it warmed. So to save that tiny bit of power there, we can also shut down the heater there as well. Okay, that'll be a couple of things for Dark Aavak to focus on and hopefully get done. But with that going on, and it's currently researching, I believe, solar panels, we can start looking at the rest of the map. Oh, there's a sandstone meteorite. Okay, where's that going to land? It's landed far away, nothing that we need to worry about at the moment. Right, but one thing I touched on at the very first episode was the threat of insects. Now, we have got a hive down here, and this one isn't a threat. It will never grow. In fact, it's good to keep it there, in my opinion, because it'll regularly produce insect jelly, and we can farm that. However, another hive would be a different matter. Now, I've already explained that hives spawn under overhead mountain tiles, and it's kind of a deterrent for people making impregnable mountain bases. But the rules for their spawning is, as long as the temperature is above -17 degrees, they can spawn. They also have to be within a certain radius of a man-made structure for an infestation event to trigger a spawn on that tile. I think it's something like 30 tiles, but don't quote me on that. It's been a long time since I scienced it, and it's kind of fuzzy information. It's hard to really nail it down, but I believe it's something like 30 tiles. The closer to the structure, the more likely they are to spawn there. So it's got to be under a mountain, it's got to be at the right temperature, and it has to be within a certain distance from the nearest man-made object. Additionally, lighting decreases the chance, so the darker, the better. Now, with all of those factors there, we have got, it looks like a fire managed to get down here and it's burning its way through these steel walls, which makes no sense to me, but it's a thing that's happening. But with that in mind, this little area here is very troublesome. I think what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go up there and strip all of these man-made walls and columns and steely down. This might still be close enough to trigger there being a chance in here, because I think the chance does go through walls, and for that same reason, this is probably a dangerous area as well. So trying to avoid insects being a big problem for us is going to be a two-step strategy. Step one, reduce the risk of things spawning near us. Step two, because if you just reduce it, a 1% chance is still high enough. When the infestation event triggers, it looks for the highest likelihood tile for an infestation to happen and starts it happening there. If the highest tile is 1%, that's still going to be 100% as far as the game is concerned. So the infestation will happen on that tile. So we'll reduce the odds of it happening around here as much as we possibly can. But then we want to increase the odds of it happening over here, or anywhere else that's far enough away from us, as much as we possibly can. So what I'm thinking is possibly to dig in down here and build just a couple of walls, steel walls around here. This is nice and dark, assuming it's got the right temperature. Then, because it will be near enough to a man-made structure, we won't have any lighting down here. This should attract and bait any insect spawns down into this area of the map and away from us up here. It's not a guarantee. It's not an exact science, but hopefully that will work to our advantage. That's something that we're probably going to want to work on fairly aggressively in the next couple of days. Let's go ahead and get some marble blocks on the go, though. I would like these to be made. In fact, can I copy this and then can I paste the details in here? No, it doesn't seem I can. That's a bit of a shame, but oh well. Let's go ahead and have much the same kind of setup as we've got for the slate. So you can go ahead and pause and then unpause when we've got 50 and go ahead and make as many of those as you can for me. That would be grand. Right, as for cargo pods, what did Randy send us? Wow. Really, Randy? You're being too kind. This is suspiciously kind. I've got the feeling right now is the same sort of feeling I get when you're walking around in an RPG and suddenly there's chests full of healing pots everywhere you go. It's like, what horrible monstrosity of a boss is lurking around the corner? I know there must be one, otherwise you wouldn't be making sure that my hotbar was full of healing pots that I was going to feel incredibly guilty for not having used after I died. I'm on to you, game. Right, whilst that's going on, battery looks okay for now. With all of the things shut down, we seem to be doing all right. We're also getting enough meat stocked up that I'm not going to have to worry too much about Yoko for quite some time, actually. Dark Aavak, I really would rather you get this meat in, though, rather than doing the marble there. Let's have a look. This is a long trip for you to make. Yeah, toxic buildup. Alright, if you end up leaving like 3 or 4 pieces of pig meat out here, then I'm not going to expect you to go back for it. Yeah, it's fine. We'll just allow that one to decay. It's not a big issue for us. 3 is next to nothing. We'll probably get more raids before we're in any kind of problem. And we're also taking care of our own food at this point as well, so that should be fine. Go ahead and just drop that off. This will be enough to perhaps be a... What? Oh, yes, I did tell you to go and do that, didn't I? No. Stay here. Thank you. Sorry, Dark Aavak. I was being a bit of a derp there, wasn't I? Right, now we're making some marble blocks. I think I will possibly replace some of the walls. At the very least, I want to put a proper wall down here so that I can run power down there. I don't want it to be completely exposed. And I also want to double reinforce this area as well. There is one slight adjustment I want to make here additionally, and that is to allow the possibility for us to vent this heat into the rest of the structure. With this sort of thing, I feel that making the most out of everything you've got is paramount. It's not as much of a necessity if you're not playing Rich Explorer and with extreme conditions like this, but the waste heat from our cooler could be used elsewhere. As you've seen, I had to build a heater briefly. Well, if the temperature was in a kind of a middling range where it was too warm for me not to have a cooler turned on down here, but too cold for me to properly grow my plants, well then this is a perfect place for me to use that heat. The way we would do that is we would set up a system of 2 vents. We go to temperature. We would have one for exhausting the vent back out into the world, and another for bringing the vent, for venting the heat back into our living spaces. So let's go ahead and set that up right now. If you would be so kind, Dark Aavak. Oh, can you not reach it? It's possible you can't. Let me reinstall this then. We'll just pop that one over there for a moment. Okay, let's get that shunted across. There we go. And we can quickly mine through there and replace this one with another vent. Chop, chop. There we go. We'll just increase the speed a little bit. Now we want to burrow through here. Now, generally speaking, it's a good idea to have your freezer and anything else that might be temperature sensitive with a layer of additional insulation cladding around the building. In this case, it's just a matter of adding an extra wall. I have actually done a For Science video back in, I think, Alpha 18 or Alpha 17, where we really went into the raw numbers to find out exactly what the best form of insulation was, and it was cavity wall insulation inside a mountain. But you will rarely need that level of strategy around it. So in this case, we're just going to need another vent right down there, then build a wall out here, and we'll just allow this room, it's got a double thick wall there, we'll have a little bit of an extra layer here. Maybe we'd want to put an extra layer over there, but it's very unlikely, and that should be enough for us. Let's get that one done. There we go. And with that, have we got any marble blocks? We do. Fantastic. So we have a look at the marble blocks. We can just go ahead and pop a marble tile there, 2 marble tiles there, and then this little area will be completely enclosed. And this will allow us to choose where we're venting the heat. Are we venting the heat outside, or are we venting the heat into the rest of the complex? Right now, it's a relatively comfortable temperature, but this little area is going to be getting stupendously hot because it's venting the heat in there, as will this one in a way. So we can just go ahead and shut that down as soon as you like. There you go. And now all of that heat is getting blasted out there. This will get crazy hot because it hasn't got any exposed roof tiles. If we did that, then we could just vent the heat out into the open, but then it wouldn't be as useful for us to try and capture that heat. Specifically, we just want to let this just vent all of that heat in there. It shouldn't ever get to the point that it is dangerous from one cooler, but you might find that if you had a couple of them. I would have to run the numbers for that, unfortunately. But this should be good enough to give us the option. Should we need to capture that waste heat, we would just toggle which of these 2 vents is closed and open, and then allow that heat to flood into the rest of the facility. For the time being, we will keep the heater there, just on the off chance that it'll be useful, but I suspect we're probably not going to need it. And for the time being, things are looking up. We've got a nice little controlled environment. So whilst all of that is going down, I think it is time for us to consider taking Dark Aavak out and doing a little bit more deconstruction around the place. Now, how would we best like to do that? Well, to a certain degree, I would like to actually have a viable path across here, and then we can have a roofed system going all the way down and around if we really wanted to. And I think that might be a good idea. What's the best tiles that we've got to make this out of? Well, we've got loads of granite Well, actually, a lot of granite, though we haven't really mined much of it yet. We've got a decent amount of slate and marble around as well. So let's go ahead and use slate tiles, I think. There we go. We can easily draw the wall out there without too much problem, but I'm going to say let's just bring these tiles out something like this along that area, and eventually we can wall that off as well, which would force anyone trying to get in here through this little area. Again, I don't think we're going to end up going for insect as an active part of our defense there. More's the pity. It's always an interesting challenge, but yeah, I think it'll probably be more trouble than it's worth right now. We've got enough other problems to focus on that we don't need to add insects to that as well. There we go. Let's try and get all of this area expanded out for us. We'll just add that in like that. There we go. And now we've got to make sure that's part of the roofed zone as well. And we should be good. There we are. And straight across. Okay, that will be a little bit of work for Dark Aavak to get on with. And whilst he's getting on with that, I'm going to let a little bit of time pass. It's the 5th of August. And I will bring you back when there's something interesting to report. And welcome back. It's the 7th of August, and Dark Aavak is finally going to bed and has finally been told to stay indoors. We've done a good bit of work. There's still bits and bobs lying all over the place that we need to go and collect when Dark Aavak is not quite as heavily, well, not really irradiated, but poisoned more than anything else by the toxic fallout. We got up to 14%. I was really pushing him to the limit with that. I think 15% is where it trips over into minor. Again, initial exposure, no matter how high within initial, will have no prolonged medical effect. It'll only affect the immediate -5 consciousness. But the moment you go into minor, that's the point where you've got an increasing chance to develop hidden effects, which will only become obvious to you a little bit later. And these will be things like cancer, things like dementia, all sorts of horrid things that you really don't want to have happen to your single colonist. This is probably one of the biggest parts of having a rich explorer style scenario, is that if anything goes wrong, there's no one else to back you up. Yoko would be terribly sad as well, and really we can't allow for that. No. Yoko can never be allowed to be sad. This just must not be. Now, we are running a couple of electronic devices, and I think it probably would be a wise idea for us to go ahead and strip away this roof and start considering building out another turbine. Now, how high up would the other turbine be? Now, you can have them facing each other like this. It does no particular effect to their efficacy. There's no issues with there isn't enough wind between the two of them or anything like that. So you should find that having that set up like that will be perfect for us. Let's get all of these roofs done. Now that I can see that, I can see exactly where we need to pop another support. And that should give us enough to build the remainder of the roofs. Then we can strip away these roofs, hopefully. Did I tell you to strip the roofs away, or did I tell you to ignore them? I told you to ignore them, like a massive derp. There we go. Let's get those roofs out of the way, and then we'll build our second turbine. And to that end, we'll want the power going along here, more than likely. There we go. And that should do enough. We are going to need a lot more steel, however. How much steel was over there? There's probably enough just lying around that we would be able to finish a turbine. Maybe. How are you doing right now? 6.5%. That isn't too terribly bad. Let's go ahead and pop that in there. And I'm going to allow Dark Aavak to go back out unrestricted. Go ahead. Choose what you want to do the most. Let's get those items done there. Fantastic. There we go. Oh, you want to sleep the most. Very well. I understand. Sleep is important. You're working hard at the moment. How much more steel are we going to need? We're going to need a good 70. Probably... no. Because we're also going to need additional conduits as well. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more mining while we're at it then. Let's set all of that up. That's all sorted. Make sure that roofs are going to be built. There we go. Now I'm going to have to keep a close eye on Dark Aavak because he is currently unrestricted, and it means that he may just decide to wander off any which way. No rhyme or reason or, safety. There we go. And now off to grab the others. Really, couldn't you have grabbed... That's better. There we are. Up to 5.6. Where are we with this? Actually, no, there will definitely be enough. Now, unfortunately, if you don't have them restricted to a zone, they won't follow any particular rhyme or reason to moving through areas like this. There are roofs all the way around here. I haven't actually set up the zone because that would just be a massive potch, but for the time being, this should be fine. Right, let's have a look at you. How are you doing? 7.8. That will be okay. Now, the best way to move all of this back, just tell him to go ahead and draft. And that way he could pick up both paths. Because when you draft him, he would drop what he was carrying. Otherwise, the juggling is just a nightmare. But we should get... Did you have to stand out there to do it? Really? You massive goof. There we go. Oh, we're finally harvesting our first potatoes. This is a monumental day. Oh, amazing. We've got everything we need for fine meals. I approve. Okay, right. Well, at this point, I still want to avoid using up the meat too much. Our dear Yoko is much more important. I am going to... allow Dark Aavak to make 4 fine meals. You can stop at 4. Once you've got 4, I don't need to make any more than that. And you can unpause when there's only 1 remaining. There we are. Fine meals, I only want you to use human meat for this. Where are we? Human meat. There we go. So you can use the human meat to make meals that are going to be amazing for your morale. And whilst you're the only one here, this is incredibly important for me to keep high. We cannot afford for Dark Aavak to ever suffer a mental break right now. After that, though, beyond that, I want you to make simple meals. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make basic simple meals. However, no meat in these. No meat whatsoever for these. You can go ahead and make sure that you've always got... if you've got the materials for it, 2 full stacks of simple meals, and you can unpause it once you drop to the point where you've only got enough for 2 days, and then you can start making more. I think that should be more than good enough. There we are. You can crack on with that as soon as you've brought in this harvest of potatoes. There we go. You probably should do a bit of sowing as well, but what on earth is going on there? Dark Aavak is starving. So happy to have food. Okay, quickly. Let's go to your restrictions. There we are. We currently have you on rations. I am going to adjust the food restrictions. So rations right now only allows packaged survival basic meals. It doesn't allow you to just eat. It allows you to eat the corpses, but no raw meat. I should imagine. No. There you go. Well, maybe shouldn't eat the corpses either. Really, that was a bit of an oversight of mine. I should have allowed that there. But rations. I'm going to change this one now to only packaged survival meal, nutrient meal, and pemmican. That will be the rations from now on. These are generally what we would be having people taking with them on caravan. So we'll keep that restriction there. But we want a new food restriction, and this will be... Well, we can't specify what the meals have, so there's no point in calling it a cannibal. We'll just call this regular food. Oops, that was a bit of a mistake there. We want to go in here. You're allowed to eat everything. No raw foods here, though. I could allow you to eat berries, but there is a small chance that berries will give you food poisoning. So let's avoid that. We won't eat packaged survival meal. We will allow nutrient paste. We won't allow lavish meals. Simple meals, fine meals, nutrient paste, no corpses once again, and no, actually we'll take chocolate off as well. Maybe this will be regular food, and we'll make one last one for lavish food. Or luxury meals, we'll call this one. There we go. Why is rotten allowed? Oh my lord. That would be anything but. Right, we'll take all these off. Raw food, once again, no to that. Chocolate, yes, absolutely allowed with chocolate. There we go. I think that would be fine. Let's go back to regular. There we go. No rottens, please. My lord. But there we are. Right, you are now moving up to regular meals. This is going to be grand. And there we have it. On the 8th of Jugas, we have cooked our very first meal, and Dark Aavak has immediately gobbled it down. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a look. How did that go? Oh, wow, you were up to actually malnutrition. Yikes. There we are. Cooked cannibalism. I ate a meal made from the meat of another human. So pleasurable. Only I had some fava beans and a nice Chianti. And ate a fine meal. So an extra +5. So that gives us that gives us 20 morale from that one meal. Now, if we just ate some human meat raw, we would get 20 from raw cannibalism, but -7 from eating a raw meal. So overall, it is better to eat, to have cooked cannibalism, and if it's a fine meal, then you effectively get the bonus of the raw cannibalism anyway. I believe. I'm kind of tempted to test it. We'll try it later. But I believe if we had Dark Aavak now eat this, we would also gain raw cannibalism. You know what? Let's for science this. Consume this human meat. Let's grab a little, because you won't need much to eat. There we go. Did we get both? Wow, we did. Okay, 8 raw food. So, in total, we've got -2 from the type of meal we ate. But a whopping 35 from the fact we had cooked cannibalism followed by raw cannibalism. This, once again, is why having a cannibal colonist allows you to very easily manage their moods. That was crazy good. Right, there we go. Let's get all of this. Oh no, really? Of course. Randy was like, wait, what? He's that happy? This cannot stand. No, we'll send the flu. Well, Dark Aavak, for the betterment of everyone else. Okay, self-isolation may not be required in this particular instance, but we're going to need hand sanitizer at every door. We're also going to need proper training. Make sure you can catch your sneezes and your coughs, and generally, just the normal, the good person, herd immunity boosting individual that you are. Let's make sure that this passes nice and quickly. We have got all of the medicine we need. Realistically, Dark Aavak is going to be perfectly fine. I do need you to treat yourself, though, and I need that to be a crazy high priority. Could you do that now? No. Why? Why are you not using medicine? Can you? No? What are you doing? Pharmacist. Right, okay. So this is how pharmacist kicks in. When it comes to colonists, if it's an important disease, Dark Aavak will use the meds based on the danger that this represents. So if he had lots of small cuts, eventually it would be treated as a major wound to avoid the situation of like death by 1,000 cuts kind of stuff. As for disease immunity and the disease minimum severity threshold, these settings work in conjunction to make sure that your colonists don't try to treat the common cold with your Glitterworld meds. So the way it works is if immunity is lower than the disease progress plus this margin, so if your immunity, let's say Dark Aavak has the flu at 10%, then if his immunity is lower than 20%, so 10% plus the margin, which is 10% in this case, and the severity is higher than the minimal threshold, which is disease minimum severity threshold is 10% there, then the disease is treated as a life-threatening injury. And so in this case, life-threatening, which is here, would mean that Dark Aavak would get Glitterworld meds. Otherwise, It's not, and you'll just try and treat it with whatever you've really got to hand. Perhaps it would be major wounds, or in fact, it possibly even treated as a minor wound. So since we didn't have any basic meds, he just patted himself down. There, myself. It'll all be better soon. Don't you worry. Now let's actually have a look at Dark Aavak, and we'll see why he decided to do this. There we are. The flu is 9.2. So 9.2 plus 10 is 19.2%. His immunity is lower than that, but the flu is not above 10% yet, and as a result, Glitterworld meds weren't used. But I imagine, very strongly, that the next time he gets a chance to treat himself, he'll immediately go for the Glitterworld meds as a direct consequence of this. We've got enough Glitterworld meds that realistically, we're under no particular threat with this. It's just going to mean that Dark Aavak's going to have to spend the next couple of days just sleeping, basically, which is kind of a pain in the bum, but oh well. The worst thing that could happen now... Oh, thank goodness. I was going to say, the worst thing that could happen now is if Dark Aavak ended up grabbing a meal and then getting food poisoning. That would be genuinely pretty awful. Right, Royal Ascent, new quest. Let's have a look at you. To accept this quest, you need a colonist with the title of Count or Countess, a free bedroom that satisfies the title requirements of Stellarch Kioaspis. You have learned of a way to escape this planet. The High Stellarch of the Broken Empire will perform a customary visit with any count of his domain upon request. Invite him, satisfy his royal needs for 12 days, and all of you can ride the shuttle to the Imperial Flotilla. You may then join the Imperial Court or escape to a new life amongst the stars. Earning the title of Count means completing quests to earn royal favour with the Broken Empire. It may take years to finally achieve the title of Count. During his visit, you must keep his mood above 25%. This means providing royal prerequisites like a lavish bedroom. Others will take the opportunity to try and kill the High Stellarch, if you aren't already trying to do so. I mean, I hear that High Stellarch meat is possibly amongst the most succulent of morsels that one can ever dine upon. So, maybe the High Stellarch will want to rethink this offer once they find out a little bit more about Dark Aavak. But whilst they're labouring under this assumption that we're completely harmless and normal individual, that's fine by us. But I don't think we're going to be going for this one, simply because by the time you get to Count or Countess, your individual is so incredibly incapable of doing any normal work. Maybe if we have enough other colonists to be able to take over most of the jobs, but the big killer for me with this is, I believe, Baron, which is the title below Count, is the last of the noble titles where they will tend animals. I don't think Dark Aavak would ever accept any title, no matter what rights or privileges come with it, if it meant that he would no longer be able to train and spend time with Yoko. No, I don't think that's going to be happening. To that end, we may actually turn off the accept royal favour toggle there. Instead, I'd like to continue to build our favour with the faction, but for the time being, I'm not interested in going any further than Yeoman. We've got an ability for psychic powers, and perhaps later we're going to be doing other things with that as well. There are more ways to become more psychically powerful than following the orders of the Broken Empire, but we'll have a little look into that in the future, I think. And on the topic of other people joining the colony, helping a mail carrier. A 40-year-old mail carrier named Freckles is calling from nearby. She is being chased by tribespeople of the people of Branna. She begs for safety and offers to join you at Colony. If you accept, you'll have to fight off the tribespeople on her tail. The group of tribespeople will compose of one archer. Freckles is too frantic to offer more information. I mean, maybe? I mean, Dark Aavak doesn't really feel like getting out of bed right now, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not the best time for you to need our help, but realistically, Dark Aavak is going to be fine. He's going to get out of that before it probably even gets into major territory. We could. Having an extra pair of hands would actually be quite useful. All right, let's see how this goes. We will accept this quest. Where is Freckles? Come along, Freckles. Show yourself. There we go. Freckles joins. Okay, since it looks like you'll be here for a while, Dark Aavak thinks that you should give your faction a name. What should your faction be called? well, we've got some suggestions. And of the suggestions that were offered on the first episode, I'm going to go with Noble Rest as the name of the settlement. Since we were just talking about the possibility of maybe eating one of the highest allocs, this has a double meaning, really, and I quite like that. This was by Tolsoron. Thank you very much for that suggestion, and for the faction themselves. Now, Phoenix, Talia, I think you offered this one more as a name for the camp, but I really like this as the name of the faction. The Sanguine Dirge. What a fantastic names. Thank you both for those awesome suggestions. Now, with that, Dan, let's pop you guys in there. Let's also have a look at Freckles. Freckles, tell us a little bit more about yourself. You're incapable of nothing. That's fantastic. You've got an annoying voice. Okay, well, you know, we all have our faults. Fast walker and nimble. Fantastic. You've got a better melee dodge chance. You've got a good trap spring avoidance chance. And you're just generally faster moving around. You've got some skill in melee. You're not bad at social. Okay, you're not very good at medical yet, but you've got a burning passion for it. This is a very nice character. It's always a bit of a risk when you just accept someone from out in the wilds. You never know what you're going to get. But now we need a name for you. And it looks like for this series, Lady Wolfheart will be playing the role of Lorena Bird. Thank you so much for being a patron supporter and welcome to the colony. Now, with that said and done, we do quite badly need you to get into the colony, and hopefully we'll be able to deal with those following you in just a moment. There we go. Let's get you out of the way. Right, let's have a quick look at you then. Where are you? They showed up. There we go. Panther. Like the hair, Panther. Let's have a look at you. Incapable of none. Asexual brawler jogger. Whoa. Now that is very nice. Decent crafting. Ooh. We might end up having 2 new people joining the colony if we're lucky. We don't have another bedroom yet, though. Sorry, I've been caught a little bit underprepared. My bad, everyone, my bad. Let me go ahead and set up a couple of spots. There you go. You can have a spot in there. And, well, I don't really have anywhere. Poop. Okay, well, I'm not going to make you live in the freezer. It's okay. It's all right. You can live in here for now until I get somewhere better. Maybe. All right, let's get Lady Wolfheart over here as quickly as we can. Dark Aavak, I'm going to need you to be ready. Let's get out there. Yoko is already by Dark Aavak's side. Of course she is. Do we have any weapons of any kind that I can give you? I really don't. Okay, well, then the best thing for you to do is just basically stay out of the way, honestly. Let's get Dark Aavak over to this wall, I think. There we go. From here, you should be able to deal with... This is why I love insects so much. So much. That is fantastic. Okay, well, we're going to have to do a nighttime raid to go and get Panther. But, okay, well, I guess we're not going to be adding anyone else to the colony just yet. That's fine. That means this room can go, and this becomes the storage room again rather than the prison. All right, so with that, I think that's a pretty good place for us to wrap things up. Lady Wolfheart was just going to, you know, take care of Dark Aavak while he's feeling really wretched from this flu. But in the next episode, we're going to need to make Lady Wolfheart a new room and indeed possibly expand out a proper workshop area, I think. But that is going to be it from me. A rather nice place to end the episode, I think. So until next time, and as always, do leave me comments down below. I love to read your feedback, and if you did enjoy the video, then consider leaving a like. And if you want to receive notifications in the future of when new videos get posted, then consider subscribing. But that's it for now. So from Dark Aavak, Yoko, and now Lady Wolfheart, do take care, everyone.